Over the last few years, I've really come to love having dahlias in the garden and the beauty that they really add as you're walking around. And we've got quite a few varieties going now, but I just picked up another 6 new varieties. And today is the day I want to share with you how we plant dahlias. G'day there, it's Rachel here from Bush Edge Homesteading Australia, and I've been to Harvest Homestead, which is a kind of lovely lady locally to us that has a bit of a cut flower farm on her property, and she does some flower arranging courses and things that I've done there before, and she also sells some dahlia tubers, and I've got a half a dozen from an order that I placed with her for this year because I've been loving the dahlias in our garden over the last couple of years, and I'm excited to get a few new colours. So I am going to show you when we head down to the garden what we got. But first of all, what we need to do is prepare some new areas for planting, because as much as it kind of looks like down here in the garden that we've got some bare areas for planting, all that's going to be taken up really, really soon with all of our veggies now that they're starting to fill out for summer. So we actually need to create some new planters, and we're going to do that using some steel drums today. This drum we bought ages ago, and the idea was we were going to actually use it to store, I think it was water or something in, but that isn't going to be storing any water in it with those holes in it now. So what hubby's going to do is cut that into 3, and we're going to use that for our garden beds for the dahlias.
Redback.
Redback? Oh yeah.
There's another one right there.
That's pretty gnarly looking.
Hold this here, and you're going to try and do a mark on there for me, okay, while we roll it.
Planter number 1. And number 2. What type of blade were you using on that to do that?
Metal.
Just a metal blade?
Yep.
Cool. Just getting the worst of the jagged bits off, but I do have a bit of a thought on getting some rubber around that just to kind of protect it for the long term so that nobody cuts themselves, because when you cut the metal like this it can be pretty sharp. So this area on this bank here is where we want to set up the little garden. It's got quite a bit of fall there, and it's also kind of the edging of where the septic tank is, so I don't want to disturb this, which is why the idea is to use these drums, build it up a little bit, and then that's going to give us the good drainage that we want for the dahlias. Now, the other thing I probably should have mentioned with this drum is that it is one that was used for food purposes, so you know there can be some pretty nasty chemicals stored in these things at times, but this isn't that case. It's I think it was like apple cider vinegar or something random like that from, oh no, apple juice concentrate, that was the one. I will get all of this off just to make it look a little bit better, but yeah, it hasn't had any nasty chemicals in it that we could be introducing into our garden. There's our planters in position now. We did kind of move them around a few times to get them into these spots. This one here, I just kind of banged the edges with the mash hammer to get that in. And the 2 over here, I did need to do a little bit of levelling. I did try to minimise that disturbance as much as possible because, as I said, I really don't want to disturb the bank too much. But that's them there. Now, in terms of what we're going to put in these, this is the material over here. So this potting mix here, I've just got that from our local hardware, and it was the cheapest bags that I asked for. And that's because I'm actually not too fussed about the potting mix that I put into these, because I'm actually going to improve that with a whole bunch of our compost that we've made here on the property. So that will be blended with the compost, and in the very, very bottom I'm going to put some of these grass clippings. So I've got a whole bag of those here, and because these are so deep, it basically means that I can get a little bit of bulk in the bottom, and then I'll fill it up with a better material on the top. Now, some of this compost material that I am about to put in is not completely composted yet. In fact, you can see it's almost more like a worm farm material with the amount of worms that's in there. But it doesn't really matter, because again, that's going to go firstly into the deeper kind of area, create a little bit of bulk in there, and then we're going to start getting that potting mix in. And then I'll get a little bit more of the more aged compost, of which I don't have a lot of that left because we used a lot of that in our spring garden prep, but out of what we do have left, I'm going to get that in the top bit, mixed through with that potting mix, and that's really the area that we'll be planting into when we plant those tubers. Next is going to be some of the more aged compost, which is mainly the one on this side here. And you can probably see that material there, that is absolutely beautiful. So that's really going to enhance that potting mix that I just bought, but this is actually not particularly well draining. So mixing this together with that potting mix, that's what's going to give it the good drainage that those dahlias need. Alrighty, now that they're full, I need to sit down and take a breath. So let's grab that bag of tubers and I'll show you the varieties that we got. I'm just going to hide down here on the step because there is a little bit of wind about now. And I'll show you what we've got. So because I can't remember the exact colours of each of these, I think I chose a lot of like salmony, sort of pinky, maybe yellow, orange, because when I did do her flower course there in flower arranging, I really liked kind of the colours kind of coming together that looked like a sunset. So from memory, when I ordered these, I did choose colours that kind of reminded me of that. But what I'm going to do is just pop a picture up on the screen, and the lovely Azalea has said I can actually use some of her pictures from her website, so I'll be able to show exactly the ones that we've got here. And the first one is our cornflakes. So that's what the cornflakes will look like that you can see, and I'm just having to imagine. A open-centered Brennan. the Delbard, or Delbard, I think is actually that one, Gange. What's here? An Earl. The Tiger Bay, or Tiger Bay maybe. And last but not least, this was a lovely little bonus that she threw in for me, which is called the Juliet. And when I picked them up, we were having a little bit of a chat, and this is apparently one of their kind of favourites, so they popped that in so we can see that beautiful flower too. Now, I probably should just do a really quick check online just so that I can kind of match up the colours, because I'm going to be putting 2 of these in each of those planters that we did, and it might be nice if I actually get the colours a little complementary, because I'm sure right now you guys have some ideas on which of the colours of these would go together best, but yeah, I can't remember. So I wonder if I will choose what you would have chosen. Oh, I tell you what, that wasn't an easy decision. So what I've gone for is, in this first one, the cornflakes and the Delbard Gange or Gorge. That's going to be the first one, which is kind of like those orangey, and that's got like a bit of orangey and white. Now the next one up here, I'm going to do the Juliet and the Tiger Bay. Now, that was probably the combo I was least confident on, and I did flip-flop a little bit, but they are both stunning. Not sure how they're going to go together, but hey, we'll find out. But I did want to put these 2 together over here, and that is the Earl and the open-scented Brennan, because they kind of had really, I don't know, kind of whimsical, romantic sort of colours about them. And in this one behind here, that there, that's actually my Cafe au Lait. So I actually think the combination of these next to each other is going to be quite beautiful. Now, in terms of how we're going to go about planting, in my boot, I have some planting instructions, because from Harvest Homestead they do actually give you some instructions, which is always super handy, especially if you are new to planting tubers. And there's a great little picture in here I wanted to show you, which is that one there. And that actually shows where the eye is, where the neck is, kind of the end part, and that's the direction you want to put your tuber when you're planting it. And it also kind of talks about the depth that you want to plant it as well. You know, you do see a bit of different guidance online, you know, 10 to 15 centimetres deep seems to be the standard. Now, because there is a bit of wind out here, I'm taking you down to the lowest one to kind of demonstrate the planting. And let's go with the cornflakes on this side, and then we'll do the Delbard on the other side. So first of all, we just want a bit of a hole about 10 centimetres deep. I probably should have pulled this out first just to see how big it is. We'll have a look inside. She packages it in a little bit of wood chip there. And that there, that's our tuber. So we do need to look and see if we can find the eye on that, because that's what we want to be planting upwards. There we go there. You can kind of see, or hopefully you can see, where that's going to shoot from, just there. And just going to lay that in here. Again, about 10 centimetres deep. You do want to be gentle because you don't want to knock off that little eye. And we're just going to cover that up. In fact, I might even use some of that dust over the top. You can call that the start of the mulch. Alright, next, just going to do the same thing with the Delbard one. And again, I didn't check to see how big it was first. There we go there. So that one there is a little bit of a different shape. Again, you can kind of see there where it's starting to shoot from. So that's what we want to point upwards. Again, we'll lay that flat in there. a little bit deeper, it's not quite 10. And we'll cover that up again. Again, we'll use that for a bit of mulch. But I am also going to mulch that properly now as well. Alright, on to the next ones. Over here, there is the Juliet, which I think I'll put on this side because being a pinker one, it's a little bit more romantic, so I think it'll fit those colours a little bit better. The Tiger Bay's got a little bit of orange in it, so that actually probably matches a little bit better over in that direction. And again, we just want to go down about 10 centimetres. Open that one up. And again, you can kind of pick where that's shooting from. Just there. And that's what's going to face upwards. Cover that up. Dump that all out. Next one's the Juliet. So you're probably getting the idea now, being able to spot where the eye is and where it's going to grow from. And again, 10 centimetres deep. I'll come back and mulch that in a second. Over here, ooh, which one, which way? Alright, I'm going to put the Earl in the middle here between the Cafe au Lait and the Brennan, so the Brennan can go in first. And I apologise if you are a dahlia expert or enthusiast. I am just a gardener that likes dahlias. Probably not saying these completely correctly, or I'm sure you've got some more amazing tips, and if you do, please do share them with me because I would love your advice. This is of course the sharings of someone that is not pretending to be an expert, just sharing what we do on our property. Again, you can kind of see where it's shooting from. That's our up. And last but not least is the Earl. That one's a little bit of a different shape there. Let's see. That one is not quite as obvious, but essentially what we want to do is have those kind of root bits pointing down, because the eye will come from up here somewhere, but it does not look like we have one quite yet. So yeah, that's how we'll plant that one. Awesome. There is our dahlias, all planted up, and hopefully you enjoyed following along as we did that today. We definitely are not experts around here, but we've really loved what the dahlias in the garden have kind of brought to us over the last couple of years since I started growing flowers. And I will say it took me quite a few years to realise how special it is to have flowers in the garden. I was one of those people for many, many years that thought, hey, flowers are taking up valuable growing space that I could be growing food, but flowers are definitely food for the soul. So hopefully this has helped. If you're looking to put some dahlias in your garden, maybe it will inspire you to give it a bit of a go too. And as you saw, it's pretty simple to put them in, and I look forward to sharing later on with you how they look. So hopefully you do follow along, check out our future garden videos and see how these all fill out. As always, thanks a bunch for joining, and catch you later. This is where you guys are lucky, because you can go enjoy another vid. I'm going to do some cleanup. And that includes myself.